If you were a member of the public doing research into the number of CCTV cameras in the UK, after about 2002 you'd be absolutely convinced that there were exactly 4.2 million of them. And that number remained constant until 2011, when all of a sudden there were 1.85 million because another study had been released. All these figures have been quoted and repeated to such a degree that they almost became an established fact. And of course they can't all be right, especially since from the first figures in 2002 and the second study 9 years later, CCTV, it's commonly accepted, has proliferated as the technology has improved and become more cost effective. So this is the background behind the research project that the BSIA has conducted over the last couple of years, the findings of which we're here to present to you today. So what is the BSIA and what does it do? It's the trade association representing the UK's professional security industry. Its members provide up to 70% of the goods and services sold in the UK by value, and BSIA members are experts in their field. And to reflect this, each member joins one or more of the association's specialist sections. And there are currently 20 sections covering areas from guarding to cash in transit and of course CCTV. The direction and the work of each section is set by the members, who give their time without charge for the good of the industry, and in turn they and their organisations are better informed about standards, best practice and other industry developments. The BSIA CCTV section is a forum for the association's CCTV specialists, and our role is to develop and contribute to best practice, standards and to influence stakeholders, including of course government, for the good of the industry. Now in recent years the industry has been under attack from some civil liberties groups. The perception or the agenda of these groups is that the industry is just there to sell more CCTV cameras, that the CCTV systems are all part of the state surveillance apparatus, cameras are ineffective, a waste of money and a bad thing. Now the BSA is supportive of the concept of civil liberties. We are of course citizens as well as members of an industry and a trade body. But we take issue with all of those points, especially when they're not presented as part of a balanced argument, and in some cases they haven't been. Used in an appropriate manner, CCTV is a very effective tool in the detection and prevention of crime and terrorism, of course. CCTV systems have been shown time and time again either to deliver the evidence or to provide the clues to the police as to where that evidence might be. For some crimes, though not all, they work as an effective deterrent. As an industry, we recognise that CCTV systems must be effective, that the use of CCTV must be appropriate and proportionate. And these principles are enshrined in the Surveillance Camera Commissioner's Code of Practice, which the BSIA has supported. CCTV systems are like computers in that they have the potential to be used for malign purposes. And it's in the best interests of the industry, as well as the public, to ensure this doesn't happen. The government's legislation will help here, but currently it applies only to a small number of schemes. So back to the figures. The first figure of 4.2 million cameras was the product of a small localised study conducted by members of a Home Office team that wasn't really intended to come up with a number of how many cameras there were in the UK in the first place. But as a byproduct it did, and that number, it was a small local study which was then extrapolated to cover the entire country. And the number of 4.2 million has been widely adopted by the press and to the point where it's become an established fact. The second figure of 1.85 million cameras comes from a different study conducted by Cheshire Police in 2011. The study was conducted more widely, taking the whole of Cheshire, but was again extrapolated to cover the entire country. Now we're not here to discredit either piece of research, but it was clear to us that the only certainty about any of these numbers was that they were at best estimates. Any attempt to calculate a number involves a significant quantity of assumptions. The actual hard and fast numbers are very difficult to get, and depending on whether you assume high or low, you get a different result. So the BSIA embarked on this project initially to find out what that range of numbers was, but as the research progressed, it became more important to develop a robust and transparent methodology that was less reliant on extrapolation. So what is the true number of CCTV cameras in this country? Well, I'm going to let Paul tell you that in his presentation. But whilst the report contains numbers that are of interest, the real story is how the cameras are distributed across different types of property, and in particular the tiny proportion of cameras that will actually be regulated by the government, which is about 1 in 70. So is the number of cameras actually important? Well, we don't really think so. What's far more important is how these cameras are used and how the resulting images are controlled. BSIA members have to abide by British, European and world standards for the design, implementation, maintenance and operation of CCTV systems. And the regulation that we would like to see will drive out unscrupulous and unprofessional installers that call the reputation of CCTV into question.